Sup, boys? It's Devin. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. I've been up since 4:30, obviously. Every morning up at 4:30 on the dot. Did my morning routine this morning. Then I dove straight into some work. Connected with one of my colleagues, peers, who are also in a similar space to me. It's always nice to connect with others who share a similar mindset to you. People that are on the same mission as you. And when I speak to people who have the same mission that I do, it reinforces that everything I'm doing is correct. It reinforces that the world is bigger than I currently see it. And it's all about perception. Now, I want to break down perception, okay? Perception is the key to all success. We each see the world differently. We each have a different perception of what reality truly is. Now, your mind, as I've spoke about in the past, does not know the difference between reality and between what you tell it. So that being said, the world is what you perceive it to be. If you perceive the world to be small, and you perceive being average to be normal, your brain will follow suit and believe that, and boom, that is your reality. But you can bend reality in real time when you have the ability to shift your perception. So how do you shift your perception? Well, the first thing is evaluate your surroundings. Who are you surrounded by? Are you surrounded by winners or are you surrounded by losers? Are you surrounded by people who are trying to better themselves, people who are trying to become something in this world, people that are trying to leave a mark? Or are you surrounded by people that want to spend every weekend drinking, that want to work their 9-to-5 job and then just go home and call it quits, that don't care that their physique is mediocre? What kind of people are you surrounded by? Because the people that you're surrounded by, you'll become the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time around. So if you're surrounded by a bunch of losers, you, sir, will become a loser. So growing up, I grew up in a small town. I grew up in a town in New York, and the whole town was 1 square mile. So I went to a public high school and only graduated with about 100 people. Think about that for 1 second. That's not fucking normal. This wasn't a private school. This was a public school. So in the town I grew up in, everybody knew everybody's business. Everybody knew everybody, period. But all of our mindsets were somewhat similar because of how confined and small our space was. We didn't have exposure to lots and lots of different people. Everybody in my school growing up was pretty much white. Just to give you a perspective. That being said, how the fuck can I be exposed to different cultures, different ideals, when that's what I grew up in? I'm not exposed to other people that have different mindsets. Everybody's the fucking same. So when you're in a situation where everybody's the same, you're not exposed to new ideals. So it's hard for your perception to grow and expand. That's why it was so important for me to get out of my hometown and branch out and reach out to other people and see other places to expand my mind. My perception was very limited for a long time. All I saw was, hey, this is what the people around me are doing. This is all I'm made for. If I'm lucky, I'll make $100,000. I'll work my 9-to-5. I'll marry a 7 and have 3 kids who don't respect me. That's like the average in that town. So I had to get out. So you might be asking, Devin, how the fuck is this relevant Well, I'll tell you how it's relevant. That was my reality, but what's yours? Look around you now. Your friends, are they on a good path? Are they individuals who are trying to become the best version of themselves? Are they working every single day to improve their physique, improve their mindset, improve their spirituality, improve their relationships, improve their relationship with the man in the mirror? Or are they just settling with being mediocre and poisoning your mindset to think that that's okay? Well, I've got news for you. I moved to a different state on a whim. Okay, I started multiple businesses. I exposed myself to some of the highest level people that I could possibly imagine. And guess what I've learned? Being average is not okay. Being okay is not okay. Every day should be lived to the fullest. And I don't mean that in a hedonistic way. I don't mean that every day should be lived as a fucking party. I mean that you should be putting your best foot forward, giving maximum amounts of effort towards a real goal that you want to achieve each day. There's a difference between happiness and joy. Okay? Joy is what you should be chasing, fulfillment. Happiness is an emotion. Happiness you can get from drinking. You can get from playing video games. You can get from jerking off, whatever the fuck your vice is. Because you'll feel happy in that moment, but it's not real. Because once that moment's over, the happiness is done. So drinking, cheap dopamine. Weed, cheap dopamine. Jerking off, cheap dopamine. Video games, cheap dopamine. It's not real. But what joy and fulfillment truly is when you actually take the time to discover what your purpose is on this world as a man and start working every single fucking day to get one step closer to achieving your purpose. That brings fulfillment and that brings joy. Especially if you love your family. If you love your family, then you should be giving them the best version of you. And the only way to do that is to put yourself first. If you're presenting a half-assed version of yourself to your family, a version of you who only cares about going out to party, a version of you who just wants to be average, then you're doing a disservice to the people who love you. I'm sure there's people in your life that look up to you. I'm sure your mother wants to see you succeed. I'm sure there's people who rely on you if you're a man. So why the fuck do you think being average is okay? Why do you think that you have the right to put your happiness over others? That's not what a fucking man is. That's what a girl is. If you think that way, your mindset is corrupted and you've been lied to. You don't understand just yet how joyful and fulfilled you would feel if you put your purpose over pleasure, if you delayed gratification. Almost anything that you do that feels amazing up front is going to be bad for you on the back end. That box of cookies looks delicious. You're gonna eat them, it's gonna be fucking awesome, delicious. But what happens when you're done with that box of cookies? You feel awful, your confidence goes to shit because you had no self-control, and now whatever your physique goal is, I'm sure it's not to be a fat ass, and that is exactly what eating the cookies is gonna lead to. So while it was great up front, it's bad on the back end. I'm sure you guys, eventually you're scrolling on TikTok, you're scrolling on Instagram, you're seeing ass titties. You might get an impulse to start beating your meat. You get the dopamine, you get the release. What happens after? You feel ashamed of yourself. You have low energy, and you just understand that it was wrong. It never feels right, does it? Because it's wrong, but it felt good in the moment. Now apply that to any vice that you have, and you could start to see a pattern. Anytime you do something that's gratification in the beginning, up front, you'll pay later. Now let's flip it. Here's delayed gratification. Getting up at 4:30 a.m. every morning sucks. in the moment. But over a long enough time frame, do you know how much more work you get done? Do you know how much confidence you build when you do something you don't want to do and you start waking up at the same time every day, proving to yourself, giving yourself undeniable proof that you are the man that you say you are? Do you know what that does? Over a long enough time frame, the joy that you get, the fulfillment you get out of that trumps the suck up front. That's delayed gratification. Starting a business, you're going to put a lot of fucking work in the beginning and you're going to see no result. Could be for years. But once that business is thriving, don't you think you'll be glad you suffered up front? When you first want to build a great physique and you've never trained before, you're going to start off weak. And those beginning lifts are going to suck. The workouts are going to suck. The eating's going to suck. Probably all going to suck. But over a long enough time frame, you'll start to be built like a Greek god. Will it be worth it then? Will you feel more fulfilled knowing that you worked hard for something and now you have it? Or do you want to just keep chasing instant gratification? Delay gratification for later. If you master this skill, you're almost guaranteed success. So what is perception tying into all this? Everything I've just stated to you, you've probably never heard from your boy, from your mom, or from other people in your life. That's why you have to branch out. You have to get around people who have a higher level of thinking than you do. That's why I still surround myself around people who have higher level thinking than me. That's why I pay for mentorship. I'll never be so egotistical to think that I know it all. A wise man knows that he knows nothing. There's always more information to learn. There's always room for growth. It never ends. So your perception. I believe that me waking up at 4:30 every morning, me smashing my morning routine, and staying disciplined is going to get me to achieve everything that I want in this life. And because I believe that it will, it will. If you walk through life doing things that you don't believe is going to get you anywhere, then it won't. It's all your belief. I believed that I could build this physique that I have now when I was a skinny little kid. I believed I could build this physique now when I went off the rails and became chubby and fat. I had no physical proof. I believed it. And because I believed it, I made it happen. Anything that we want to achieve starts in the mind first. It begins in the mind. An architect doesn't just, start building a building. He draws and sculpts every single detail first on a piece of paper, and then he goes to build it. So how does that apply to you? What man do you want to become? How does he talk? How does he walk? How does he dress? What are his daily habits? What does he do each and every single day? What does his house look like? What successes does he have? What does his physique look like? How do people perceive him? What does his girlfriend look like? Through meditation, through journaling, you start to sculpt each and every detail of this man that you want to become. And until you could see it crystal clear in your head, you can never have it. So you might say, I want to be rich and I want to be jacked. Well, what the fuck does that mean, really? How rich? How much money? What does rich mean to you? Jacked, okay. Do you have a six-pack abs? Do you have bicep veins? What weight are you? How much weight can you lift? What do you physically look like? What does jacked mean? Quantify it. Make it real. Make it detailed, specific. Think big. Think beautiful. Think wide. And once you do this and truly have a clear picture of what you want to be and who you want to become, then just simply start living as that person right now. If you don't live as that person now, you'll never become that person. So whatever that person's habits are, start adapting those habits now. If the best version of you that you want to become doesn't procrastinate, stop procrastinating. If the version of you that you want to become works very hard, start working very hard. If the version of you that you want to become has no vices, then drop your vices. And you might think, Devin, it's very hard to drop my vices. I need it. I'm addicted. You're only addicted because that's what you believe. If you believe you're stronger than any craving or any withdrawal symptoms you might feel, then you will just fucking drop it. Any vice, done. Get rid of it. And it's your perception. Your subconscious mind is the most powerful tool you have. It doesn't know the difference between reality and what you tell it. So that being said, how do we play into that? How do we use that to our advantage? Say you're addicted to vaping and you want to quit vaping. Here's how you do it. You just throw out all the vapes, stop hanging around the people who vape so you don't have any urge to vape, and then tell yourself, I don't vape. So let's say you quit vaping, you're doing okay, and a week later you run into a buddy. Hey, you want to hit this vape? Instead of saying, I'm trying to quit, what you say is, I don't vape. And the reason that's so powerful is because your subconscious mind will start to believe that you don't vape. If you tell yourself you're trying to quit, you are telling your subconscious mind that it is still an option. When you say, I don't vape, your subconscious mind understands this is not even an option. I can't even consider that because it's not very easy to have willpower when you're still giving yourself the option. But when you don't even give yourself the chance, your will increase. So the perception of what we believe is what becomes our reality. If you want to build a fantastic physique, you need to put the amount of effort in that would make failure impossible and give yourself undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. If you want to build an incredible physique, you have to see yourself with that physique. Every line and detail of what that is. What is the habits of somebody who has an incredible physique? What does the build look like? How do people perceive him? How many abs does he have? How many bicep veins does he have? What's his weight? How much can he lift? How does he eat? How does he sleep? What does he do? And then start living as that man now. Because if you're not living as the person that you want to become, you will never become the person you want to become. Because a lot of people see this, they do this, and this is where they go wrong. They say, I'll get in shape when. I'll do it when. If you have the mindset of I'll do it when, you'll never have it. There's not a perfect time to do things. We just do them. It's that simple. When I decided I wanted to move to Florida, I want to explain this. I was living in New York my whole life. I came to visit Florida May 2024 on a vacation. Looked around and I said, you know what? I love this place. I want to live here. So I went and looked at an apartment building. It's a little out of my budget. I said, this fucking apartment is beautiful. If I could sign a lease right now, I would. I went home from that vacation and immediately decided I'm moving to Florida. Now, I had a job, a 9-to-5 job where I was in person. My whole family and friends. I had my Amazon FBA warehouse. There's a lot of obstacles I had to get over if I really wanted to move to Florida, but I decided right then and there, I am moving to Florida. It wasn't I'm thinking about it. It wasn't I'm deciding. No. I said, I'm moving to Florida. I restructured my contract at my 9-to-5 job to become a remote employee. I had a girlfriend I was dating that I had to break up with. I had a lease because I was renting an apartment that I had to break. I had to break my lease on my warehouse. I had to convert my business to becoming fully remote. And I did that all by July. So from May to July, my singular mission was to restructure my life in a way where I can move to Florida. Because I said, a guy who can move to Florida like this, what does his life look like? Is he tied to a warehouse in New York? Is he tied to an apartment? Is he tied to a girlfriend? Is he tied to a job in New York? No, he's not. So then, once I understood that, I then started quantifying the steps of what needed to be taken to become that person. Okay, I have to restructure my job. How am I going to do that? Well, first let me think of how to word it. Then let me schedule a time to talk to my boss. Then let me talk to him and figure it out, blah, blah, blah. Right? Okay, with my girlfriend, do I really, is it going to work out? This, that, and the third. I'm going to have to talk to her about X, Y, Z. Schedule that when I was going to do that. Did it. Figure out the line in detail, every single line in detail of where you want to become first. Then understand there's steps that need to be taken, and then start to quantify them and do them one by one. And what you do is you focus on the daily inputs that will get you the output. If you're so honed in on the output, you'll never achieve the output. To get the output, it takes you focusing on the daily inputs, the things that you can do every single day to move the needle forward to get closer to the goal you want to attain. Because if you're just so focused on the result, and then you'll get mad that you don't have it yet, and you'll lose your fucking way. Instead, lay out the steps. Say, if I do X, Y, and Z every single day, and I never miss, will it make failure impossible on a long enough time frame? If the answer is yes, then do it and never miss. And you can do it and never miss. You can have a consistent lifestyle where you hit your non-negotiables every single day if you believe you can. If you believe that it's important to you, if your perception is, I need it more than I want to breathe, you will figure it out. I promise you. If it's really important to you, no matter how busy you are, no matter if you have kids, no matter if you're in a relationship, if you're working 2 jobs, if achieving whatever goal is important to you is really so important that you need it more than you need to breathe, and that's the key, then you will figure out a way to do it. The reason most people never achieve the things that they want is because it's not that important to them. They might tell themselves it is, and they might get this high off telling people what they're going to do, but it's not that important to them, because if it was, they would put the amount of effort in to make failure impossible. They would believe it's possible, but not just believe, they would back it up with raw action to give themselves undeniable proof they are who they say they are. I've applied this to every single thing in my life. If you haven't watched the video on law of attraction that I made, go watch it. A lot of those principles I've applied here in this video because it all ties in. Our worlds are nothing more than what we perceive it to be. If you don't think you have the capability to do something, you don't. But if you believe you do, you fucking do. Belief is one of the most powerful things in this world, especially if you're religious. You believe in God, belief is strong, man. Belief is very strong. I've achieved a lot of fucking things in a very short time frame I never thought possible. I was a degenerate, drug addict, loser, chubby, victim. Everything was why me. I had no direction, no purpose, no discipline, no drive. I was a lost fucking cause. I've come a long way. It took a lot of work. Nothing changed until I changed my perception. Nothing changed until I changed. If nothing changes, nothing changes. So if you truly want to change your life, it starts within. You got to change the way you see the world. You got to change what you believe to be real and what you don't. You got to cut out the people in your life who have limiting beliefs and add people in your life who don't. Craft a reality around you to support your goals. That's the key to success. Achieving success in fitness, in relationships, in mindset, in anything. It's all here. So if you want to achieve everything you want, fix your perception, fix your mind. Love you, boys.